Well, I'm just driving away from Taliban. I really wanted to have a look at the harbour. I saw someone sent me a link about the Philippine government is proposing to put a port, some kind of port control at Etafi. Not so yet for Taliban, but I'm supposing that maybe the bridge, which is supposed to be coming, or whenever I say that the bridge is coming, I can remember my mother would always say, yeah, so it's Christmas. So we don't really know when that's going to happen. But anyway, I was curious to have a look, and they're doing a huge amount of work down there, as you'll see if you look at the other video about the Taliban port alterations or construction work that's going on there. Lots of land reclamation, infill, a huge amount of stuff going on, which all confirms what I thought about the private enterprise work that's going on in and around Taliban. Not quite so much in Etafi, and yet Etafi is the one where they're supposed to be getting the bridge, and a lot of work is going on down there. So it seems that Taliban is heading for huge... Sorry, I got to focus a little bit on driving just to stay alive. There's a lady that's driving along there, and she's eating a banana on a stick. Yep. So I like to get home before it gets dark, because once it gets dark in the province, you take your life in your hands, and it's difficult for a foreigner to understand, which really brings me to some of the subject of what I want to talk about now. I really like to do subjects which will help anyone who is coming out as a foreigner, and finding the degree to which you can understand and the degree to which you're not going to be able to understand is key to staying alive and staying sane while you are alive. So the road is the one thing that I firmly believe a foreigner will never be able to understand. You just have to accept that it's beyond your understanding and accept the way that it is. I know why it's like this. That this is a country. It has its own heritage. It has its own way of life. It has its own infrastructure. It has its own. The mores of this society are just as firm and orderly as anything that you'll find in the West. The difference is that it's not the West, and where, I'll adjust the camera a little, and where in the West there's a terrific amount of training. You don't realize how much training you've had until you come out here. And in the West, the training of any driver started when they were kids, and they sat with their parents, and probably they listened to their mother backseat driving and their father struggling to maintain the level of sanity which would get them home. So I can remember my mother and father training me just across the road. You know, you would look left, look right, and look left again. if you're in the UK, obviously, and you didn't play in the road. And if you walked at the side of the road, if you were forced to do that and there was no sidewalk, you obviously faced the oncoming traffic. And then if someone was going to mow you down, you might have a chance of seeing it coming and get the hell out of there. But here, there is no such training. No one does it. And you can hear the confusion in my voice as I even start to talk about it. It's just something that is completely alien to the well-trained, probably over-regulated foreigner that comes here. In the UK, very few people would drive without a license. There's a way to do it. You go and you get your student license and you wear an L plate. That's a white plate with a red L on it, which tells everybody that they shouldn't take anything for granted and that you're a learner driver, L for learner. And you have to have somebody qualified riding with you all the time, driving with you. And then after a certain period of time, after you've learned all of the rules and the highway code, all of the signs, all of that, and how to navigate the roads with a respect for other drivers. This is the thing. So you don't pull out into the road if there's an oncoming vehicle, especially if there's nothing behind that oncoming vehicle. You learn that it's difficult to judge the speed of something that's coming directly to you. Easier when they're going past you, but when it's coming towards you, it's difficult to gauge the speed. Now here, none of that awareness happens. So people come straight out from the right and straight onto the road. And very often there's very little space to spare. And not only that, but the motorcycle that comes out and does that just comes straight out and intrudes on the flow of traffic. That motorcycle might have 3 or 4 people riding on the same motorcycle. Now, I'm sure that people look at me on my motorcycle. I never have a passenger. It's a forward-leaning riding position, which makes it a little bit more difficult. But Beth doesn't come on the bike with me. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like the way that she is higher than me, and for a lot of other reasons, she prefers to ride her own bike. So very rarely, I've carried 1 or maybe 2 people on 2 different occasions. One where I had to take one of our students because I was going to Taliban and she was visiting, so she came with me on the bike and I dropped her off in Taliban. So it's a whole different thing. But enough of that. This is part and parcel of the kind of confusion that you will have almost every day of your life here. And it's important that you learn to handle that, because it's one of those things that your wife or girlfriend will be your main person that you talk to. Now, here's the problem with that, is that very often they don't speak quite as much English as you think. Now, if you actually see the wrong expression, might say, do you understand that word? And they'll say, yes. I ask Beth, my favourite example of vocabulary. So anyway, my vocabulary is dropping. I look over and I say, do you know what vocabulary means? And she said, yes. And I say, what does it mean? And she said, I don't know. So logic tells you to say, your next question is, if you don't understand it, why did you say that you did? And then they'll say, I don't know. So there are several phrases which you have to get used to, which are part and parcel of everyday living. One of the phrases is out of stock. Now, if you go somewhere and your English is becoming a little bit of a challenge to the person who is naturally shy, this is part of the Filipino psyche, that they are shy. And they don't want to be considered stupid in the eyes of a foreigner by making a mistake in their English. Even though I always say to people, I wish that my Visayan was as good as your English. You speak much better than you think. And that has the effect of comforting and making them feel a little bit better. But it's not a whole thing. Now the other thing is, as with Lovely, our little fostered girl, Lovely, she saw me making something. I think it probably was oats. I was making a bowl of oats, hot water, ready, easy cook oats. So I'm making it, and she looks and said, what is that? And I say, well, I tell her, and I say, would you like some? And she said, is it delicious? I said, masarap. I said, yes. I said, I can make you some easily. So yes. So I said, now, if you don't like it, it's okay. So I make her some and I give her the bowl. We put some honey in it. We're turning in left now. So I make it for her, and she gets an almost unmeasurable amount on the tip of the spoon, and she almost puts it in her mouth and tastes it, if you get what I mean. So then I just watch her out of the corner of my eye, and then finally I see that somehow the bowl of oats that I've made for her has been put to one side. So I said, well, didn't you like it? You didn't like it then, Lovely? Yes, Daddy. Yes, it was very nice, delicious. But you haven't eaten it. Yes, I'm going to eat it. Now, we've talked about this before on videos, haven't we, where I've said in the Philippines, certainly in the province, past, present and future tense are not tools of grammar that are readily and often used. So everything is in the present tense. So you did like it. Now, Lovely, it's okay if you didn't like it. No, I like it. It's delicious. I said, but why aren't you eating it? No, yes, I'll eat it. I'm going to eat it. And no matter how I try to explain that it's okay for her to say, I don't like it, I can't do it. I can't get it through to her. So now you can see what this means. It means that I'm not really sure of whether she likes it or not, because I say several times, are you sure? So you don't like it? Yes. And we've been into the yes and the no. If you can say it was delicious, yes, but you didn't like it, yes. Does that mean you did like it or you didn't like it? Yes. Well, is that yes or no? No. Well, is it yes or no? Both. Believe me, even Beth has said both. So it's both yes and no. There are some things, believe me, sir, there are some things you will never understand. And the other expats that I talk to, we talk about this, and we, almost without exception, we agree that even though we can see that there are reasons due to culture differences, there are reasons we will never understand. It can't be understood. For instance, it's very difficult. How would you not understand someone saying, can I try that? And you give them a taste and they say, no, I don't like it. There's nothing wrong with that. In the foreigner culture of almost any country in the world, there's nothing wrong with that. And yet a Filipino is so averse to saying no that they won't say it. So even when they mean no, they'll still say yes. So you can say to someone, we're not going to that place, are we? They'll say yes, meaning yes, you're correct, we're not going. It's a puzzle. I'm home, so I'm gonna switch off. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If I'm always happy to read the comments that people send, and because I enjoy that, I do respond. Especially if you have experiences with what I'm saying and you give me a little instance in your life about that, I'm always very happy to respond to those. I have lots of people that I regularly correspond with as a result of their being in touch on our channel. The other thing is, of course, that if you hit like and especially subscribe, and even more especially share, if you share our videos, this puts a light on for AI, and it will now spread the word of our channel to others who might not normally find it. So you'll help us out a great deal, and of course I'm very grateful for that and very appreciative of any contact with any like-minded people. Bye for now.